Hello and welcome to this new Android development course. This is part 1 on how to make a photo editor for Android. So first we will open our Android Studio IDE, then we will click on start a new Android Studio project. We will click on empty activity, then we will click on next. And right now we will change the name of the application to photo editor. Okay, please make sure the selected language is Java, and the minimum API will be, in this case, we will use the minimum API 19, right? Okay, and we will click on finish, right? So now we will wait for the IDE to create our project. So what this application will be able to do? Well, basically, it will be able to get a photo for the gallery and then load that photo into a bitmap. And then where we have the photo loaded into the bitmap, we can start manipulating it, like actually doing whatever the case we want to make with photo, change the colors, maybe change like filters in other photo editors. We can rotate the image, we can turn it black and white, right? So basically we can do anything we want with the image, right? So as we wait for the project to be indexed, well, it's already done. So as you can see, the IDE has created for me a main activity.java file, which contains the main code of my activity, which is the main activity on our application, right? Okay, so we will start by focusing on the Android Studio and the Android manifest file. So we'll open our manifest folder and our manifest file. So please open it, and what we have to define here is that we want to use permissions. So we will use two permissions for this application. One of them will be to read external storage, and the other one will be to write external storage, because we want to read images from it and we want to put them back to store them or save them into the back to gallery, right? So as you can see, there's sort of a warning right here, which is about Google search, which we don't really care about. So we will click on suppress warning, right? And now it's cleared. So to define a permission, we will do the following. We will open an element right here and we will type uses permission, right? Android name, as you can see, and we will say read external storage. Okay, so the IDE is auto-completing this for me. If you start typing read external storage, then it will complete it for you, right? Okay, we ended the block as I'm doing, and we will continue to the next permission. So uses permission will be write external storage. So write external storage, right? So now we have both permissions we need. And in this case, we will also want to require a feature, which means enable me not direct access, but kind of delegated access to a feature. In this case, we will access the camera feature, since this won't be a camera app, but it will be able to tell the camera app that it's installed on the phone to take a photo and send it back to me, right? So to define that feature, we're gonna type uses feature, and then we're gonna type Android name. The name of the feature will be Android.hardware.camera, right? Just lowercase camera, I think. Okay, let me check this. So basically what this feature will do is will tell the system that we want to get photos for the camera, even though this is not a camera application, right? So, and now we're gonna say, I don't know if the emulator in which I'll run will be capable of this, but will still do it, so you can have that feature in your real devices, right? Okay, because it's a very useful feature. So that's how we access camera. Okay, and right here we can we will leave this as it is, but we will set these here up in the application tab will be to have a large heap, because we will be storing bitmap data into our Java heap, right? So we're gonna say large heap, and we will set these to true. Okay, so that's basically how we will set this. And we will also set down here on activity, I mean after this main activity name, we will set screen orientation, and I'll set it to portrait because the application will work in portrait mode, right? So that's how we basically set up our Android manifest file, right? So that's it for the Android manifest file, and now we will switch to our we will go to our layout file, right? Okay, so let's go to the layout file, and actually what we will do right here under the REST folder will be to delete the current file. So we will right click on it, and then we will go and click on delete. Make sure these two boxes are unchecked and press OK. We wait for the file to be deleted. Sometimes it takes a while, so now it has been deleted. And we'll go to the layout folder, right click on it, then we'll go to new, and we will click on layout resource file. Okay, as the name of this file, we'll use the previous name, so name won't change. So activity main, right? And as the root element, we will change the current root element with linear layout, right? So make sure you have activity main and linear layout. We won't touch anything else, and we will click on OK. Now that we have clicked on OK, we have created this new activity main XML file, and we will switch to the text mode right here. And as you can see here, we have our layout, in which we can start making the changes we want for our application, right? So how the application will work, so it will start by asking if the user wants to to load the photo from the storage, so an already taken picture, or he or she wants to take a photo right now. So let's create that user interface. So here we will create a linear layout. The width of these will be match parent. The height will be match parent. The ID of these, the ID will be main screen maybe, or welcome screen. I'll call it welcome screen. Okay. And we will set these linear layout a gravity parameters. We'll set gravity, and we'll set this to center, right? So it will look better. And the orientation of the linear layout will be vertical, right? So this is basically our welcome screen. Inside this linear layout, we will define how our welcome screen will look like. Okay, so maybe we will start with a text view right here. Okay, we're gonna start with a text view, and the width of this text view will be match parent. The height will be maybe 100 dp, okay, and the gravity will be center. What this will contain will be the title of our application, right? So the text will be the application title, in this case, photo editor, right? So that will be the title of our application. And since the default text size is very usually kind of small for us, we will change the text size. So you can say text size, and let's set it to 30 SP, right? Which is a bit larger than the default one. So to know if the changes took effect, I will run this on my emulator. If you have an emulator on your computer, you can also run it on it. Or if you have a real Android device of API of this 19, you can also run the app on your real Android device, right? So right now I'm waiting for the emulator to be loaded. And what the app should do is basically the app should start, then it should call to the it should show our activity main XML file, and inside that it should show the title of our application. So this is the emulator. As you can see, it's starting right now. So it's kind of a real device running inside my computer, which is provided by Android Studio, so it's easier to test sometimes here. But again, if you have a real device, you can also test the application in your real device. Depending on your machine, this may take longer or less time than mine. But well, we will wait a bit more and until the emulator is loaded. And then we will be switching between the emulator and the IDE, as you can see right now. So you can see right here that says phone is starting, and it's about to be ready. Okay, so as you can see, this is how the phone looks like, the emulated environment of Android. And now the app is being compiled and being sent to the emulator device, right? So we will wait for the compilation ends. Let me check if, as you can see down here, we can check that the project is being compiled. So the APK is being generated and then it's being sent to the emulator, right? So it says Gradle build finished. So the first time takes a while, as you can see, but later it will be a lot faster. And now it's installing, as you can see. Okay, it's launching activity, which means install successful. And now we can check our application, and it says photo editor, right? So this is what we wrote actually. This is the text view that we have right here. So this is right here. As you can see, it is not very black color, so we want to make it darker, black color. So we want to change the text color to black. So how we will do it? Well, pretty simply actually. Right here we only have to say text color, and we'll set this to number sign followed by 6 zeros, and this is how we define the black color. And we have another option to define colors with maybe better. If we open the values folder here on the left side and then we open colors, the colors file, here we can define more colors. For example, in this case we need a black color. So what we do is we say color name, we will call this black, okay, and the definition of this will be a number sign followed by 6 zeros, right? Oops, okay, 6 zeros, so make sure you have 6 zeros. Then we go back to activity main.xml, and instead of using 6 zeros right here, we will just type black, add color /black, and now it knows that I'm referring to the black color I just created on the colors.xml file, right? So now if we run the application again on the emulator, we will hopefully see that we have a darker title color. So as you can see, now it's running and now it is installing, so a lot faster than previous time. And as you can see, now the text color of this text view is a lot darker, which we like, right? Okay, so maybe we don't want these bars that appear up here at the top, because we want kind of give our application a cleaner look. So we want to hide these in the top status bar. So how do we do it? Okay, we will go to values folder and we will open the styles.xml file. Okay, inside these, we will go inside this style app theme that was created by the IDE. And what we will do here, we will open a new item and we will set window no title and we will set the value of it to true, right? We will also set another value, will be item full screen, window full screen, right? So window full screen, and we'll set also this to true. So what these two lines are saying is that we don't want the title bar and we want it to be full screen, right? So if we go and run the app again, we will check how it looks now. Okay, so now here we have the application, and those bars that previously were here, they are not here anymore. So as you can see, we only have our photo editor text view we created ourselves, which is awesome. So let's continue creating the UI of our application. So after we create this title, we want to create two buttons. One of them will be about load image from storage or take photo, right? So we're gonna go and say button. Okay, and the width of this will be maybe 100 dp, right? And the height maybe will, yeah, a height will be yeah, also 100 dp. Okay, we can change this later if we feel that we need it, right? The text of this button will be load image or select image actually. So this text will have the following. So the select image, right? So we can also see how it looks like if we click on the preview button, preview bar. I'm clicking right here, and if we can see how these will look like on the application. So as you can see, we have select image right there, which is kind of okay, right? So we can also create a new button down these that will be take photo, right? So the second button width will also be 100 dp, so it will be basically the same as the first one, and the height will also be 100 dp, but this time the text will be take photo, okay? And as you can see here at the right, we have select image and take photo. So let me check if I can do this a bit larger. So as you can see, this is what what our app will look like. So if we want to add an extra space between these two, what we can do here, for example, if we go to the first select image, we can say margin bottom, and we will set it to maybe 20 dp. And as you can see now, we have added some space between the two buttons right here. If we want to do the same between the title and the first button, we can also do that. So we go to the text view of the first one, and we'll also say margin bottom, and we'll set also maybe to 20 dp, right? If we want more space, we can do it to 30 or whatever the case may be, right? So now let's run the application to see if it looks what we expect. So it's launching right now, and here is the application. As you can see, if we click the buttons, nothing happens. It's because we haven't set up it yet, but we will do it later, right? So we have, this is the welcome screen of our application. It says photo editor, and then we have select image or take photo, right? So we have those two options. So I think that will be basically it for our main welcome screen. Now we have to go and access these buttons from code, right? So let's do it. So to access them for code, okay, let me close this. We have to assign each of them with an ID. So first, in the first button, which is select image, I will say ID, and I will set this ID to select image button, right? And on the second one, I will set the ID to take photo button. Okay, so now we have these two, and if we go back to our main activity.java file, right here we can actually access those buttons, right? So to access those buttons, we will do the following. Inside the onCreate method, we're gonna type final button, and I will type, so don't forget to import the button class. So final button, and I will call these select photo. That was the name. We can call it whatever we want, but I want to select image button, right? So select image button, and I'll set these to find view by ID, and I'll tell it r.id.select image button. So basically what this is doing is that it is finding an element that has this ID, right? So we will do the same with the next button. So I'm gonna say final button, take photo button, okay, and we will set these also to find view by ID, and this time will be r.id.select, oh no, take photo button, right? So in this way, this is how we can access the elements on our XML file directly on Java. Okay, so now we want to know when those buttons are being clicked. To do that, we have to set both with a click listener. Okay, so to have this more ordered, I will make some space here between these two, and below the select image button, I will type the following. So I'll say select image button that set on click listener, and inside this I will say new on click listener. We press enter to make the IDE generate these for us. Okay, so we have now our onClick method, which will be called when the button is pressed, right? So now we know when the button is pressed. And what we will do here, well, we will do that later. And we will also do the same for the take photo button, right? So we're gonna say final button, and we will, oh no, sorry, I'm wrong. I will say take photo button that set on click listener, and I'll set this to new on click listener. And as you can see, now we have two click listeners and two buttons, right? So these will be used to perform some actions on the activity, on the application, right? So if we want to select image button, we want to tell the Android system that we actually want to select the image button. Okay? For that, we have to have permissions. We have to have the read and write external storage permissions, right? So as you remember, we defined those permissions in the Android manifest.xml file. So, but we have to do an extra step if we are running on Android 23, Android version 22, which is actually Android 6.0 or Marshmallow. So Marshmallow and above, Marshmallow and later, we have to ask permissions at runtime. Well, that's a change in the policy of how Android works, but we will do it, don't worry. So first of all, what we will do is that we will check if the user has permissions. So we will override the onResume method. So after the onCreate method, what we will do will be add override, and we'll type protected void onResume. Okay, we will open this, and we will call super.onResume. So we always have to call the super method. So let me scroll this a bit down right here, and we will do some changes to this structure in order to make the application work in every Android version, right? So we will create an init method. right? So we will create an init method basically, right? So to create an init method, we will do the following. Outside the underscore method, we will type private void init, okay? And we will open this method, and we will put what we created on the onCreate method. We will move that to the init method. Okay, so I cut this text and I paste that text on the init method. Okay, as you can see, now I have the button listeners inside our init method. Now, why do we do this? Well, because we only want to initialize these things if the user has granted permission. And if the user has not granted permission, we don't want to initialize this, right? So, okay, let's go again. So, the app starts with the onCreate method. As you can see, the first instruction here, it says set content view to r.layout.activity_main, right? So this is how we kind of can see what's going on, right? After we do this, what we have to do is we will check if the device has a camera, and if the device has not a camera, then we will hide the take photo button because it doesn't have a camera, right? So we don't have to show it. So to check if the device has a camera, we will do the following. So we will do and say if, and we will say negation. So we are checking if the device doesn't have, so we will start with a negation, and we will type the name of our activity, which in this case is main activity, okay? That this, which means the context, and we'll say get package manager, right? And we will call has system feature, okay? And the feature we want to be checking is the camera feature, so we're gonna say package manager dot feature feature camera, okay? So this basically will check if the device has or doesn't have a camera feature, okay? And if it doesn't have a camera feature, what we will do is we will hide the camera button, right? So to hide the camera button, we will do the following. We'll say find view by ID, and we'll set it to r.id.take photo button, and we'll set that to set visibility to gone. Okay, so if we run the code, so let's run the code to check how this behaves, right? So I'm running the application, I'm compiling it and running it, and as you can see, it didn't take an effect here because this emulator has a camera. Not a real one, but has an emulator camera that is provided by Google. So this is shown. If you have a device that for some reason doesn't have a camera, I mean, this can maybe be the case of smart TVs, right? Because smart TVs don't have a camera. So like in those devices, if you run this application in those devices or in any other device that doesn't have a camera, and this button right here, the take photo button, will be hidden, okay, will disappear because it doesn't have a camera, right? So we have done a couple of stuff. We learned how to set up a UI, we learned how to check for features, we learned how to create buttons and how to set and click listeners. In the next tutorial, we will learn how to manage actually the permissions we specified in the Android manifest. So we will check about this. So we have already checked about the feature. We have still to check about permissions. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I see you in the next one. Bye.